right now, as of recording, it is currently Thursday, May 2nd, just to kind of add a little bit of a timestamp to this entire thing. So we figured if we're going to talk about the NHL playoffs, why not talk about the one thing that won't really be out of date, and that is the Edmonton Oilers, because they eliminated the LA Kings in Game 5 in what was a very dominant series for them. And they just pretty much did exactly what everyone expected them to do against the LA Kings and looked very, very good while doing it. With a power play percentage of, I think it was 45%, a penalty kill percentage, which was something ridiculous, something even stupider, I think, like somewhere in the 90s. Like this entire thing was just an incredible masterclass of a series by the Oilers, and they've really shown the entire world that they're here to stick around. And I'm pretty sure I watched a lot more of the series than you did, Caleb, but I think watching it as a Flames fan, I can still sit here and go, what the fuck is that power play? That's not even fair. They have literally everything you could possibly need to... It's not even fair. Like, watching it during this series they have probably the best power play I have ever watched live with my own eyes, and I've watched Team Canada and stuff like that. Like, it's just ridiculously stacked. It's not even fair for, especially a team like LA, and they are a very good defensive team. Like, they showed that multiple times. I mean, their goaltending is nothing incredible, and people made sure to point that out going into this series. And their goaltending wasn't the reason they lost. Their defense wasn't necessarily the reason they lost, and their offense wasn't either. It was the fact that they were playing an Edmonton Oilers team that was the most ridiculous thing ever. And I think after this series, my question to you, Caleb, to throw it over to you, would be, after hearing all these stats and watching the dominance that we just saw from them, even if you might have expected it, how much does this change how far you thought the Oilers were going to go this year, and what your expectations are with the rest of this playoff run?
I don't necessarily know that it does.
Okay.
Because I feel like the Oilers having a great power play is not necessarily new. It's new to which the extent of how good it is. Like, I think this is probably their peak form in terms of, especially in
Yes.
terms of all the stats you pulled up, especially in terms of like, because they've had McDavid and Draisaitl and even a guy like Hyman for a while, but like even bringing like a guy like Bouchard is really blossoming right now and is playing like really up to fully his potential. And I assume he's the one there on the power play. Not that
Yes.
I haven't watched that
Yes.
much of the series, but I was pretty sure he was the one out there on the power play. I'd be pretty surprised if he wasn't.
Yeah.
So I think that adds a lot to it. But that was never their struggle, right? Because with a power play, you basically are putting your five best guys out there on the ice and saying go score. And with the Oilers, that's going to be killer, right? Like they're going to go out there and dominate during those stretches of time. Um, and yes, LA is a good defensive team. I do just worry about when the Oilers go out there and play a better team. I pegged them for the Western Conference Finals, so obviously I don't think they're a bad team. I think the numbers you pulled up are indicative of that, right? Like
Yeah.
they're a very good team, and I think they have the potential to get to the Cup Finals, and they obviously have the potential to even win the Cup. But it is still a worry for me, and it doesn't change all that much in terms of me thinking if you come against a team like Dallas or Vegas in the Cup Finals, I don't know, even though that will still be an edge and an advantage for them, I feel like there's other areas where they will have to kind of pick up the slack in terms of depth and goaltending that makes me still worry about their potential future there.
Yeah. And I'm happy you brought up goaltending, because I think that is something I wanted to speak on as well, because that, I think, without a doubt, is their weak spot. I actually don't think their depth is a problem, because the one thing that I noticed, and something that was pointed out to me when watching these games, was the fact that the Oilers, and this could be something to watch, I will say, as we get further into the playoffs, and if they have to play in a 7-game series, like that actually goes to 7, uh, is the fact that they were pretty much rolling 3 lines, in the sense that they roll their top 3, and instead of a 4th line, what they would send out instead was, it was McDavid, Hyman, and what's his name? It was another one of their wingers. I think he plays on the second. Holloway. That's who it is. So they were sending out that line instead. They played, I think, a total of like 6 minutes, like on average per game. So they'd end up playing 6 minutes. The rest of the lines would play their average time. So both McDavid and Hyman ended up getting extended ice times, and their fourth line pretty much barely touched the ice. Like, and when I say barely, I fully mean like nothing. Like they were basically there to warm up the bench, which clearly it's working. Like against a team like the Oilers,
Yeah, but
that elite pressure that they were and elite play that they constantly had on the ice, it worked. Like, but when I watch the Kings, just to throw this out there before I throw it back over to you, I see a team that isn't a pressure hockey team. If the Kings, and the Kings did do this at multiple times during the series, and they made the Oilers play their style of hockey. Their style of hockey is a lot slower than the Oilers, and I don't think I have to tell you that. I think that's something that should already be well known. And there's not a lot of teams that can play the Oilers' pace of hockey. But I think a team like the Avs or a team like Carolina or a team like that upper level of like elite hockey, I think a team like that could really, really tire out this Oilers team. And I actually think when watching this and since we've seen the Avs in their series against Winnipeg, when I look at those two teams, I actually think the Avs are probably the scariest team to the Oilers right now. I think Dallas and Vegas, cause that as of right now that series hasn't been decided yet. But Dallas and Vegas, both those teams are scary too. But just matchup for matchup, I really don't like the Avs. If I'm the Oilers, I don't like the Avs because the Avs are scary for all those same reasons that the Oilers are scary, except the fact that they have a better elite defenseman and their goaltender is maybe not better, but I don't like Stuart Skinner, so I'm going to say better.
I completely disagree with the assessment that the Avs are the team to be scared of. I agree with everything. I disagree with the Avs for all the reasons you brought up. That I don't think anybody is going to outpace the Oilers, right?
Okay.
So like you just said, the Avs are strong as a team, and the Oilers in many of the same ways, right? They have two like superstar all-world players on offense in McKinnon and Rantanen, and then yes, you have an elite defenseman. Like they are going to be a great scoring team, and we've seen the Habs run up the score, especially in that first round series against Winnipeg. What I'm scared of is teams like Dallas and Vegas who don't necessarily play the same style, and who I think would be more likely to drag Edmonton out to a 7-game series. Not to say that I think a series between Colorado and Edmonton wouldn't be potentially a 7-game series, but I think I can just see Dallas or Vegas grinding them down a lot more. And then your point about not having a fourth line is where that issue comes up, right? Where I think it just comes back to me the series that Edmonton had against, I believe it was the Jets a few years ago, where they had this game go into like multiple overtimes, and you saw them like basically kill Darnell Nurse by having him play like 2 hours basically. Because I don't remember who was coaching them at the time because they've gone through a couple, but whoever was coaching the Oilers at the time, basically just like didn't trust his third or fourth line at all, and you could see it take a toll on these guys. So that's why I think when teams that are more, not saying I think this is a much better and deeper Oilers roster to your point, but when I see a team like Dallas and Vegas who is more battle tested, and I think also generally like power play more disciplined in the playoffs. Which may potentially be an issue. I think that's when it becomes an issue.
Okay.
That's why those teams are a little bit scarier for me. I agree with everything else you said. I just think the teams they should watch out for are different for those exact reasons.
Okay, and that's fair. I think you made a lot of good points there. I do agree with you actually. Looking at it like that, I don't think that a lot of teams can keep up with the Oilers. I more made the comparison with the Avs because I think if anybody can, it's probably them. Like even when I threw a team in like Carolina, I still think the Avs have a higher pace. I more mean in the sense that it will be that pace in between the Avs and the Oilers. It will be that pace for the entire game. And out of the two of them, I think the Avs have probably the better depth. And probably I'd have to look. I don't have the Avs line times and all that in front of me, but I'm assuming the Avs are running 4 lines is more what I mean by that, and probably more comfortable running 4 lines. When the Oilers are playing a team like the Kings, who have a more defensive style and a slower pace, they were not afraid to run three lines, basically, right? So when I look at it like that, at least to me, and I actually don't disagree with you on a lot of that. I think against a team like, I guess my only argument, is against a team like Dallas and a team like Vegas, I don't think the Oilers would have to change a lot. I think their strategy going into a series like that is very similar. I think against the Avs, you have to run four lines, is more what I mean. I think things change a bit more because you know that that's going to be a very tiresome series. I do actually like your point a lot on the discipline thing, because I think that's a really interesting idea as well, because we do know now when you're playing the Oilers, you have to stay out of the box at all costs. You can't take any penalties. And we even saw that with LA. I remember the second they were playing a very disciplined hockey game. The second someone went in the box, you were like, well, shoot.
Yeah, it was like that 1-0 game, right? Where it was like both teams had one power play, and the one power play Edmonton had, they scored on, and LA didn't. And that was the difference in the game.
And it was the type of thing where that was the one game as well. That was Stuart Skinner's shutout, which I also wanted to say because I saw some people on Twitter saying Stuart Skinner coming out party or whatever, where it was all that. No, he didn't have a good game. LA sucked that game. They were hard to watch. Like, that Stuart Skinner is the type of goalie where if you have a good defense, he can look good. But and this is a comment that someone else made to me that I think really reigns true with his style. He is a blocking goaltender. He is someone who, on outside shots, he can get in front of them because he is a big boy, and he will get in front of them and block them. But if he is forced to make multiple saves in a sequence, you're going to score on him 9 times out of 10. Because he doesn't really have that elite style. He's not like that agile. He's not that athletic. He's, like I said, a blocking goaltender, right? And I think that's very true if you watch him play. So I think if Edmonton's defense can look as good as they did as in a couple of the games against the Kings, I won't say all, but if they can look as good as they did in a few of those games, I keep changing my words because I keep looking down at the scores and I keep seeing 5-4 and 7-4, so I keep changing my opinion on the fly. But I think if their defense can look as good as they did, for example, in that 1-0 game, in that 6-1 game, I think it makes it really tough for whatever team they play. The Canucks eliminated Nashville, right? I'm not tripping on that.
No, they haven't.
Oh,
so
shoot.
That was going to be my next question, because I was going to say, speaking of teams with potential goaltending concerns, because we talk about Colorado and Dallas and Vegas, who are the other teams that are still left. The other teams that are still left that we haven't talked about are Vancouver or potentially Nashville. Yeah. Obviously, Vancouver is the favorite to move on. They have a 1-game lead, but it's 3-2. Nashville can still come back.
Yeah.
Do either of those teams give?
What series?
Yeah. I mean, it was 3-1. It was 3-1 at one point.
Oh, it was. Never mind. I'm tripping balls. It was New York that ended their series. For some reason I was thinking of the Canucks. Whatever. Yeah. No, I see your point.
No. But either way, whether it is Vancouver or Nashville, I know we haven't talked about them as much. Do you think they have a chance at all to stop the Oilers, or in your mind, is it kind of a straight to the Western Conference Final? Whoever they play, they are kind of.
I am not very high on the Canucks after this series against Nashville, and a lot of it is because I actually when oh god, Demko, that was a real big brain fart. I should not be forgetting his name. But when Demko went down, I was actually one of the people going, okay, hold on. They're not dead yet. I still thought that they very much had a shot at things. I didn't know a lot about Silovs. And I think he's been pretty okay. I thought DeSmith, going into it, I wasn't that worried hearing DeSmith. When he went down, I was like, okay. Okay, maybe we start worrying a little. But so far, Silovs has been fine. He's been good enough, and that's been all they've really needed. Yeah. But
in the game they won, he played fantastic. The Canucks got severely outshot, and he still won them the game.
Yeah, and so far it's just with the Canucks, my biggest issue is just the fact that their goaltending has not been. Well, it's been fine. I guess I was about to say it hasn't been good, but that's a good point. Their goaltending has been fine. It's just going into the playoffs, we thought the Canucks were going to be that really big game-breaking team, because of the fact that their goaltending was going to be incredible, pretty much, right? Like, that is what we all thought. Now we're seeing that that's not the case. They don't have incredible goaltending. I don't think their defense has been incredible either. I think that when you're playing with goaltending that is mediocre or even just okay in the playoffs, you need an elite defense that can keep shots to the outside and just let you make those basic saves and basically keep all of the saves that would force you to be Demko. That all the saves that you're paying Demko to make, right, is more what I mean.
Yeah.
You want to keep all those shots to the outside. I don't think the Canucks have really done a good job defensively to do that so far, and I think a team like the Oilers are really going to show that. I think that you can't have bad goaltending and you can't have bad defense when you're playing a team like the Oilers. So that makes me worried. I don't, when I look at the Canucks, I don't see a lot of reason to think that they can beat the Oilers at this point. If they had Demko, it'd be a different story, but they don't.
I was going to ask. That was going to be my question. If Demko starts game 1 of a second round series, does your opinion change?
He won't, though. Like, it's
we have confirmation on that? Like, I know, I feel like the conversation around his injury has been very much like, we don't know.
Yes, it has been we don't know, but it's not been we don't know in the sense that the number keeps coming down. It's been we don't know as in the number keeps going up in how long he'll be out. And I'm pretty sure the last thing I heard was that if he comes back for game 1 of the Western Conference Finals, that would be a pretty good situation, which basically means round 2 is probably not happening. So I think it's safe to assume for that entire series, if anything, we won't be seeing Demko. So with that in mind, I don't like their odds. Nashville I dislike even more because I think, not to be mean to Nashville, but I think in a lot of senses Nashville and LA are not that indifferent of teams. I guess in the sense the only thing that I'd really give Nashville is they do have elite goaltending, because Saros really has been very, very good in this series against the Canucks in all the games I've gone to watch. So in that sense, I think they'd be tougher than the Kings. I'd give Nashville that.
Yeah.
But no, I don't think it matters. I think the Oilers can beat either of them. I think the Canucks are the harder team, though. I think that they are better overall. Not having Demko sucks, man. I wanted the Canucks to really, really do good, especially since Winnipeg's out now. Canucks instantly becomes the next team that I would have wanted to do well. But God, the Oilers look so good this year, and it's so frustrating too. Because I mean, we're both Flames fans here. I mean, I don't think either of us want to see the Oilers do this well, but part of me, as much as I hate the Oilers, when I watch a power play that good, it's just the type of thing where, as somebody who just loves the sport and loves to see the elite play in it, holy fuck. Like, it is legitimately just mind-breaking how insane their power play is, because it's perfect. It is the perfect power play. I actually don't know what I'd change. It's that type of thing. Like,
I know what I'd change.
What would you change?
The colors on the jersey. Or the logo on the jersey.
That's
different
fair.
team.
That's fair. But, like, I just mean, like, fundamentally, you have everything you need to basically make the perfect power play. Take the Oilers logo off, and I'd arguably say it's the best power play of all time.
Wow, that's a bold claim.
Yeah,
that's a bold claim. Put that on the
oh
graphic.
God, I think I'd get roasted to shreds for that one. But like, and that there definitely is some bias on that one as well, where it's, or what's the word, recency bias. But at least, like, in my here's your quote. I'll rephrase it a little bit. In my, how old am I? 15 years of watching? No. 16 years of watching hockey. This Oilers power play is the best power play I've ever seen. Throw that on a card.
Throw that on the card, and I'll throw in the comments what you said before this, just so people know.
Okay. I mean, like, to devil's advocate against myself, I mean, the Oilers won with Wayne Gretzky, Yari Curry, and Paul Coffey was, just okay. But just okay. Just okay.
Could do better.
Could do better.
Needed one more Hall of Famer.
Yeah, well, there you go, right? Because Zach Hyman's a Hall of Famer, right, guys?
Could be.
Don't you fucking say that.
We don't know. We don't know
not in my Hall of Fame.
We don't know any. You scored 50 goals this season. I don't know.
Oh.
That's a pretty big accomplishment.
Yeah, that's true. If you wanna talk about one last final thing before we wrap up this segment, Zach Hyman is, and this has been the thing that everyone's talked about, but isn't Zach Hyman kind of like the perfect like line mate for McDavid? If you just look at it, like it's just perfect. You have your Shaq Hyman in the paint, and you got your guy who can just kind of like. My description of McDavid's offensive style is this. Just imagine this is the zone. Much. This is the zone. This is McDavid. This is Hyman. That's it. That's how. That's why the Oilers win.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Hyman scores 50 goals. McDavid gets 100 assists, and everyone's happy except for Flames fans. We all want to die, but that's okay.
That's true.
Who cares about us anyway?
Probably the biggest takeaway from the segment is the gritted teeth that we have to do this segment through.
Amen to that, huh? Hey, but that's Celebrini guy, right? Like the Flames are gonna get him, right? Right?
Oh boy.
Right?
Oh boy.
Right? Right?
Uh-huh.
Right?
You can live in your delusions a little bit.
Celebrities coming to Calgary. Like, no. Think about it like this though. Why? Like, sure, I know the Sharks have the number one pick, but just like, hear me out on this one, okay? Hear me out. This is a conspiracy theory. This is now becoming conspiracy theories with Simon. Why would Bettman want to give the first overall pick and a potential franchise player to a team that's in California, where there's a ton of money, it's warm weather, it's another market that hasn't really been tapped into in like the last 5 years, when he could give it to Alberta? He could give it to this incredible province that is known for cowboy hats and oil. Why would you why would you go to San Jose when you could go to Calgary? This is Why would you go to a metro area that probably has about 5 times Calgary's population? That doesn't make any sense. I don't know what you're talking about, man. He's coming here.
I think you've got me on board with this one.
But Caleb, like the Blue Ring or something, like Calgary though. Calgary's cool. Like we've got.
And I mean, we know Bettman doesn't like American markets, right? Like he loves Canadian markets.
Hey Bettman, I just thought I'd let you know this. Calgary has a really good fly fishing river, and I bet Celebrini would love that. Just saying.
Macklin Celebrini, big
Beaches?
Fly fishers. Simon Chizkowski, media insider, bringing it to you first.
Well, I didn't say anything. I said he could be. He'd come to Calgary and go, you know what?
Looks like a fly fisher guy.
Me and Celebrini go fly fishing. That's Celebrini looks like a big fly fishing guy. Is that what you said? yeah, throw that.
Put that on a quote
card or whatever. Yeah, there you go. Oh. If we don't get at least Tijiginla, I'm going to be very mad with the Flames. When did this become about the Flames? It's because we were talking about the Flames.
It always does.
We need to get Anand on again. I miss his positive energy about the Flames.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need some Anand energy on this.
I feel so bad because he's always so optimistic, and we're always.
It was really
We've been through 10 years of hell. Right?
No, we need to. I'm actually going to be working with Anand fairly soon here, I think. So maybe I'll pitch it to him. I'll see if maybe we should get Anand on for a wrap up. What a guy! Anand's a hell of a dude.
Anand shout out. Anand shout out.
Yeah, we should get Anand back on here. That's the lesson. That's the end thing that you should take away from this segment. You should go check out. Stop watching Trick Play. What the hell are you doing? Go watch Anand.
Yeah.
There you go.